Welcome, 8th graders. You are on day 4 of this project. And so looking at the agenda for day 4, you can see for the homework assignment is going to be using loops and adding comments. And so we're going to be working out of VEXcode VR. And so to go through this to-do list of how to do everything, scroll down until you see start day 4. So we'll get there. So I see end day 3 and now start day 4. So all of you should be at this spot for your design notebook. And I'm going to read through this here. And this is what you did on day 3 of drawing a square. It says to draw a square, you most likely had a couple of blocks repeated 4 times to draw the 4 sides of the square. To keep the program short and easier to read, you can use a loop to tell the robot to repeat a certain set of code blocks a certain number of times. A loop is considered a control statement because it controls the program's flow or sequence in which the instructions are processed. In a loop, the program's sequence is repeated again and again. All control statements in VEXcode VR are in the control category. And so basically, instead of doing the same code over and over, you could do one code and loop it so that it repeats it, which is what you could have done with the square. So for today's assignment, you're going to right-click each of these check marks once you get it done, and you'll go through it one at a time. So start off, open VEXcode VR, and then it says select tutorials from the top left toolbar. And so when I look at this here, I'm going to go to tutorials. And going back here, it says watch the using loops tutorial. And so I can see in this, I can see using loops. It's just over a minute long. I'll let you play that on your own time, so you can pause this video until you're done with the tutorial. And then you can click on this. The next part for today is, what will this program draw? So you can either look at the program, really try to visualize which one it is, and then highlight your answer here. So if you think it's A, you would highlight that. If you think it's B, you would highlight that. And so you can figure out which one it is, and if you're still not sure, just copy this code. You can go to your VEXcode and look back to where it says when started. So we got to go down to where it says when started. Oops, where was it? Oh, that's what it said. Yeah, when started. I'm an idiot. I was looking for the when started command. That's how it automatically starts. So if you wanted to, you could take this one by one, enter it into your code and play it out, and then that way you can see what it actually does and highlight it from there. From there, you are going to modify your program to use a repeat loop to draw a square. So very similar to your day 3 coding, but instead of repeating the same one, you're going to use a loop, test your code and fix any errors, and then you're going to rename your project square with loop, and then underscore your initials and save it to your device. So remember, when you do that, when you have your code written in, you go to the top and then rename it. This one was square with loop, rename it with your initials. And then you have to insert a screenshot. So reminder, your design notebook is ultimately how you're graded. And so we have to have proof of your work, and giving a screenshot is your way to do that. So make sure you insert that in here. Then read through the following. And if you are trying to fix or debug your code, it is helpful to watch the code blocks being highlighted as the robot follows those commands. It helps you understand what could be causing the robot's behavior and isolate issues in your code. We refer to this process as live code trace. And then the next one says adding comments. Programmers add comments in their program to describe what the code is doing. Comments are ignored during runtime, meaning they are not regarded as code. They're just notes for the programmer or anyone who reads the code. It is good practice to include a comment at the beginning of every program describing what the program does at a high level and at a place in the program where you see the need to explain a set of codes. Adding comments helps you or your teammates understand later what the code is doing if you were to update it. So you're going to practice adding a comment. To do that, when you go to your code, down below on the left-hand side, you see it says comments, and so you can drag that up. Oops, click on it, and then this one you can drag up over here and click on whatever this program is doing here after you watch it. Make a comment and describe what it is. That way later on, you can just simply read the comment rather than actually having to play through the playground part. So make a comment there. And you can see you need to then add 2 more comments to your program describing the purpose of the pen blocks and the repeat block. So add 2 more comments, and then once you do that, you're going to rename your project again. So you're going to have multiple projects, and we have to make sure we are renaming them. So this one is going to be Square with Comments. And again, insert a screenshot down below here. And once you're done with that, you can see then we are at the end of day number 4. And so at this point, you should have a good background information of how to do comments, how to make a simple square or use the coding there. And just make sure that you've gone through this entire checklist just one at a time, following along.